Harry and Meghan Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
It sounds fake.
What if I told you one of the most celebrated royal births might not be the fairy tale we were sold? Yes, you heard that right. For years, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have pushed this carefully curated story about Archie's birth. Privacy, secrecy, a stand against the palace. But whispers have been getting louder, and now those whispers are exploding into full-blown accusations. People are saying, hold on, none of this adds up. And trust me, when you hear what's been uncovered, you won't just raise an eyebrow, you'll be left absolutely speechless.
People think her kids are fake, they think they're AI.
That's because voices are rising, loud, determined, and armed with receipts. This isn't just idle gossip in the royal corners of Twitter. No, this is much bigger, with facts, contradictions, and some seriously messy details.
It's a dreadful thing to do and actually completely wrong.
And right at the center of this storm, none other than Candace Owens. And let me tell you, she is not holding back. From the moment she saw just a tiny clip of Meghan's story, Candace said she was instantly enraged. A 10-second clip was enough to set her off, and she's been digging deeper ever since. Her target? Meghan's so-called pregnancy narrative, which, according to her, is full of holes so big you could drive a carriage through them. And she's not alone. Medical professionals, royal insiders, even sharp-eyed readers of Harry's memoir are now scratching their heads.
Listen.
This scandal comes as no surprise. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years.
Because these contradictions aren't small. They're jaw-dropping. They're the kind of wild details that leave doctors saying, wait, that's impossible. And royal experts muttering, this doesn't happen by accident.
I was instantly enraged from this 10-second clip. It just annoyed me.
From Harry's very own memoir to whispers leaking out of hospital corridors, the official timeline doesn't just feel off, it feels almost impossible. And that's the part that makes this entire thing so deliciously scandalous. Because if what Harry and Meghan told us is shaky, what else might they be hiding?
Does it make you sound like a better mom? It makes you sound like really kind of into yourself in a way?
2 epidurals, a lightning-fast hospital discharge, 3 different excuses for keeping the press away. Do you see the pattern here? It's a maze of contradictions, and the deeper you go, the more twisted it looks.
This crisis won't die down until the irrefutable truth comes out.
When you lay out all the puzzle pieces, the image isn't some beautiful royal birth story. No, it's a web of secrets, stitched together with contradictions that just won't stop unraveling. And here's where it gets truly chilling. If even half of this doesn't hold up, then we have to ask, what were Meghan and Harry really hiding? Because let's face it, when the trust of millions of royal fans is at stake, every little lie cuts deeper. And if they really did mislead the world from day one of Archie's birth, then the glossy image they've built has cracks wider than Buckingham Palace's gates.
Describes her very well, and he does this by taking a look.
Absolute media manipulation. But I thought tonight this was really ridiculous.
But wait, before we jump to conclusions, let's break this mess down piece by piece. Because once you see the details, you'll never look at Meghan and Harry's story the same way again. And guess what? It all starts with Harry's own memoir. In his best-selling book, Harry paints this dramatic picture of Meghan giving birth at the luxurious Portland hospital. He describes her enduring 2 epidurals, yes, 2, before bouncing back home with baby Archie just a few hours later. On paper, it's written like a glamorous Hollywood script. Strong woman, quick recovery, baby in arms, home sweet home, the kind of narrative designed to inspire admiration. But here's the thing. The moment medical professionals and experienced mothers read this, alarms went off everywhere.
Buckingham Palace is being pressured to remove Prince Archie and Princess Elizabeth from the UK's royal line of succession until the Duchess provides absolute proof that she popped out both babies.
Let's start with the epidurals. Anyone who's been through childbirth knows an epidural isn't a casual painkiller you take and swap out. No, it's a serious procedure. We're talking about inserting a catheter right by the spinal cord. Switching it mid-labor? Extremely rare. In fact, most doctors say it's risky and would only happen in unusual, complicated situations. So why would Harry casually claim Meghan had 2 of them like it was no big deal? And then there's the discharge story. Harry insists Meghan was back at Frogmore Cottage within 2 hours of giving birth. Excuse me? 2 hours? Even in the smoothest, most complication-free births, mothers are kept under observation for at least 24 hours. Paperwork, newborn checks, recovery monitoring, blood pressure, bleeding, all of that takes time. And let's not forget, Portland Hospital is in central London. Frogmore Cottage? That's a long drive away. Between the discharge, the commute, and Meghan supposedly settling in at home, the math doesn't just look wrong, it looks impossible. And that's when the questions started snowballing. If Harry's version made people raise eyebrows, Meghan's handling of the press practically practically lit the fuse on this entire scandal. You see, when it comes to royal babies, there are rules, strict ones. First, the queen must be informed. Then an official announcement is carefully prepared. And finally, the press is notified almost immediately. That's tradition, and tradition is something the royals live and die by. But when Archie came along, those rules disappeared like smoke in the wind. Meghan tossed the rulebook right out the window. She gave not one, not two, but three completely different explanations for why the press wasn't told in the usual way. In one version, she said it was all about privacy. In another, she claimed there were medical complications. And then, get this, another account emerged with yet another excuse. 3 different stories, 1 royal baby. Confusing much? Even reporters who usually go soft on the palace were baffled. Some were told Archie had already been born hours earlier, while others were fed lines saying Meghan was still in labor, when she wasn't. This wasn't just sloppy, it was chaos. And chaos isn't how the palace operates. Every move, every word, every announcement is usually clockwork precise. But this was smoke, mirrors, and outright contradictions. And here's where the suspicion really kicked in. Was this confusion just about privacy, or was it an intentional effort to hide the real circumstances of Archie's birth? Because as unusual as this press mess was, things get even murkier when you look closely at Portland Hospital itself. Now let's rewind to Harry's detail about Meghan supposedly having 2 epidurals. Doctors have come out swinging on this one. An epidural, for those who don't know, is no quick jab. It's a delicate process. A catheter goes near the spine, delivering continuous pain relief. Once it's in, it stays there. That's the point. You don't keep pulling it out and starting over unless something went seriously wrong. Medical experts say Harry's claim makes 0 sense. Switching catheters mid-labor isn't just rare, it's dangerous. And if Meghan did undergo that, the recovery process should have been longer, harder, and much more closely monitored, which makes the so-called quick trip home even more absurd. But Harry's book brushes over it like it was nothing, as if it was just a tiny detail in an otherwise perfect royal birth story. Critics have slammed it as either a flat-out misrepresentation or, at best, a dramatized fairy tale designed to make the birth sound more extraordinary than it was. And here's the kicker. If Meghan really did have multiple epidurals, there's no way she should have been home so fast. The risks, nerve injury, infection, blood pressure crashes, are too severe. Medical staff would have insisted she stay under careful observation. So either Harry completely misunderstood what happened, or the story was shaped deliberately to look extraordinary. And then we hit the even bigger red flag: the recovery. Childbirth is no walk in the park. Even under the best circumstances, doctors don't just wave goodbye to a mother hours after delivery. They monitor her for at least a full day. And if she had complications, like the preeclampsia Meghan herself has hinted at, doctors would have kept her much longer. Preeclampsia is not a minor thing. It's life-threatening. It can cause seizures, organ failure, dangerous spikes in blood pressure. Women are often monitored for days, sometimes weeks. So when Harry claims Meghan delivered, went through multiple interventions, and was back home almost instantly, medical experts called it out immediately. Reckless, implausible. And let's not forget, Meghan has spoken publicly about maternal health and the importance of proper care. If her story is true, it undermines her own advocacy. If it's false, then the world has been sold a polished PR narrative instead of reality. Either way, the contradictions are impossible to ignore. And just when you think it can't get any stranger, whispers start leaking from inside Portland Hospital. Anonymous staffers have been talking, and what they say doesn't exactly match Harry and Meghan's glittery story. Take Harry's detail about ordering late-night food, for example. He claimed Meghan was treated to gourmet meals at all hours, but insiders have scoffed at that, pointing out that while Portland does serve nice food, it's not a 24/7 5-star hotel kitchen. The specific cravings Harry described, staff say those meals were never on the menu. And then there's the secret elevator Harry mentioned. According to him, there was this hidden special route to whisk them away. Sounds dramatic, right? Except longtime employees say no such thing exists. Sure, there are discreet private corridors, but no James Bond-style hidden escape system. That was pure fiction. On their own, these might sound like small details, but when you pile them up, they form a troubling picture, a story tailored for public consumption, not one grounded in fact. Even a supposed hospital insider has suggested Meghan's stay was far less dramatic than Harry portrayed. And Candace Owens, she's been all over this. Her argument is blunt. If the small details collapse under scrutiny, why should we trust the big ones? Was the royal couple exaggerating for sympathy, embellishing to control the narrative? Or were they covering something far deeper, something they never wanted the world to know? By now, the contradictions aren't just stacking up, they're demanding answers. If the timeline doesn't add up, if the hospital stories don't check out, and if staffers are whispering a different tale, then why? Why would Meghan and Harry go to such lengths to bend the truth about something as personal as the birth of their child? Some say it was about power. In a world where the palace dictates everything, maybe Meghan and Harry wanted to control at least this one story. Others think it was all about sympathy, presenting Meghan as a woman surviving impossible odds under crushing pressure. And then there are those who whisper it wasn't about Meghan at all, but about protecting the monarchy itself from truths too messy to reveal. Whatever the reason, the result has been the same. Instead of silencing critics, these contradictions have fueled them. Every blurred detail, every timeline shift, every exaggerated claim has fed the perception of dishonesty. And once that trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to repair. Candace Owens has tapped into this mistrust, and her criticism has only amplified doubts that were already simmering. Because if Meghan and Harry can't be straight about a birth, what else might they be hiding? And so here we are. From Harry's memoir, Contradictions, to those bizarre hospital mysteries, Meghan's pregnancy tale is bursting with details that just don't line up. Whether you see it as sloppy storytelling or a deliberately manufactured fairy tale, one thing is undeniable. The truth is buried under a mountain of confusion. Candace Owens didn't create this mess. She just shined a spotlight on what people have been whispering about for years. Every timeline clash, every medical impossibility, every inconsistent account of what happened that day. Together, they form a story that feels less like a birth and more like a cover-up. And here's the part that sends chills down your spine. The pregnancy saga isn't the only thing that has people questioning Meghan. If you thought this was messy, buckle up, because the next scandal swirling around her name is about her age. Yes, her own father, Thomas Markle, has stepped into the ring with claims that could flip Meghan's carefully polished image upside down. So here's where we leave it. A royal pregnancy story filled with impossible medical claims. A memoir that reads more like a dramatized screenplay than a factual account. Palace traditions shattered with no clear explanation. Hospital staffers poking holes in the glossy narrative. And a public left stunned, confused, and increasingly suspicious. Candace Owens may have thrown the first stone in this round, but the ripples she created are only growing. Because once the illusion of perfection cracks, it doesn't matter how tightly you try to hold it together, the truth always finds a way to surface. And Meghan Markle's story, it may be facing its biggest reckoning yet.